Hey Isaac, it's Dr. Scott. I have some feedback for you on your second essay, the visual analysis. Excuse me. There's four major criteria for the assignment. One is thesis statement. The other one is using details from the murals to support your thesis statement. And then I'm also looking for integration of sources and for organization that's purposeful, like you have a reason why you're going from one paragraph to another. And that reason is kind of clear to your reader, to me. So there's two of the criteria that aren't really kind of addressed by this draft, and that is integrating sources and then the organization idea. Like, you're just kind of set up going from mural to mural, and there needs to be the body paragraphs, for one, they need to have both murals discussed in them, and I'll talk about that just a little bit. And then there needs to be a reason why you're going from one to the other. So like if your essay is, saying something like they're trying to get us to feel nostalgic about Portsmouth's past through the use of colors, through the use of visual details, then there needs to be a reason why you're going from colors to visual details. Like maybe you think one is more significant than the other. So there's two criteria that really you don't have any kind of progress on here, that I'm not seeing anything that's related to that here. So I'm not going to talk about that too much. I'll focus on what you have here, and I'll kind of just give you feedback from start to finish on your essay. So first off, there's I had a hard time. I printed all these essays out, and I kind of write some notes on them, and you're going to see notes. When you look on Blackboard, you'll be able to see this stuff over here. Those are just kind of comments for me to remind me to talk to you about stuff. But when I had your essay in the pile, I didn't see your name on it, and I kind of forgot whose it was, so it took me a while to kind of go back to Blackboard and to see whose essay this is. So you should have your name up here, course, information, my name, Dr. Scott or Professor Scott, and then date, and then need the last name and page number up in the top right. And super small stuff. Getting into the larger, more important issues, one is the thesis statement at this point. It seems like you're doing this thing where you're kind of writing about like how everything is so self-evident, there's no hidden messages, there's nothing really to see here, and I get the sense that you're frustrated with this assignment, and I get that. This isn't an easy assignment. But the thesis statement really does kind of need to roll up its sleeve and make an argument. And so one idea I had is that you keep talking about Portsmouth's past and how they're trying to get us to think a certain way about that past, how it was kind of a simpler time. The thing that's super important for you to kind of think about in revising this essay is how do they get that idea across? How do they try to get that nostalgia across? You have a few different answers in your essay, and I think like colors or tone or something like that, I think that might be one way. I think you could also talk about visual details, how they made Portsmouth seem like a much simpler time. And so you kind of write about like how simple these are, and I think that that's okay. But the thing is like there's a message there with that. Like if you're trying to say that things were just really simple back then, like that's an argument, and it's not. I think things are a little bit more complicated than that. Like if you take a look at the Greyhound mural, that one kind of hints at like a problematic racial history in the town. And I think that there's more complexity here than I think you're giving the murals credit for. So your thesis statement needs to kind of hint at that. And the important thing that, again, is like how do they get that across? So if they're trying to make us feel nostalgic about the town's past, how are they doing that? And that's the thing that I really want you to think about. And I can help you work on that a little bit. We'll have time in class on Thursday. But that's a super important issue to kind of think about as you revise. Yeah, you write about normal, and I was wondering what you meant by that. How do they try to get us to think about Portsmouth's past? Like, if they mean it's normal, and I don't know what that means. That could be, that's kind of informed by a person's race, economic background, things like that. How they define normal. What are the visual details that are in the murals that are helping kind of get that across? Okay. This paragraph here, I didn't exactly see how it fit with the assignment because you're talking about now, and that kind of gets you away from the murals, and you really are supposed to just kind of analyze the murals. And so I think you've got an interesting pairing. I think the hospital mural could totally work, but I didn't see this paragraph working all that well. Earlier I said something about setting up paragraphs to look at individual, like what's going on with the visuals. So setting up a paragraph around colors, or setting up a paragraph around facial expressions, or shading, or what have you, like the framing methods that they use in the murals. Like they're trying to get something across with those. Like there's a reason why they had it that way. That's going to be a much more effective way, and that's really how the paragraph should be set up. They should not be set up by like, here's one mural and here's another mural. And right now in your essay, it's like you've got one solid paragraph where you're writing just about that earlier mural, and this one's about the hospital mural. And I think you need to talk about both paragraphs in each, or I'm sorry, both murals in each paragraph, because ultimately the thesis statement's making a claim about what both murals are trying to do, so it only makes sense to say, like, color is one way that they're trying to get a message across. You should be talking about color in both the murals. Alright, that's my feedback for now. There's work with organization and sources. It seems like this is a draft that kind of helped you get ideas down, which I don't think is a bad thing. Thing is, I don't want you to get too far behind, because we also have the third essay coming up, and I think you still had work to do on the first essay. I'm not certain. Let's take a look at grade real quick. I had a rubric that I completed for each of the essays, and bring this over here so you can kind of see how you did. Thesis statement, not there just yet. I think by the end of the essay, I kind of had a sense like, oh, okay, there's something here that he's writing about that could be a thesis statement, but the how question really does need to get answered. Supporting details, you do write about details in the murals. I'm not always sure what kind of argument that they're helping to support. Organization of transitions, I didn't see much work on that. I didn't see sources integrated, and there's some smaller issues like the visuals and things like that. In MLA format, you'll need a list of works cited once you get those sources in. So that's where you're at now. I'm glad to see the work coming in from you. I'm happy to help you out. So if you have questions Thursday in class, let me know and we can chat about it. All right, that's it for now, Isaac.